When I left law enforcement, I thought I was leaving the job behind, but wow, so many aspects of that career stuck with me and I learned a lot from them. But yet there are some things that still not haunt me necessarily, but are still tough to deal with. But then again, some things from the career actually saved me and helped set me up for a better life beyond the badge, believe it or not. So these are some lessons I took after leaving law enforcement. Some of them I had to learn the hard way. The first thing being this: emotional intelligence. It's crucial. What the heck is emotional intelligence? Basically, if you can't read people or yourself, you're setting yourself up for a disadvantage. You're going to have a tough time in law enforcement, but you're also going to have a tough time beyond the profession. But what I mentioned was you have to be able to understand yourself. You have to be keened in on how you are responding emotionally. This will help in relationships, whether personal or professional. So if negative emotions are dragging you down, you have to have enough emotional intelligence to realize, oh my gosh, this is not only bringing me down, but I'm pretty sure since I'm in a negative state, I'm going to be giving off the negative vibes to other people and maybe talking negative to them. We don't want that. Emotional intelligence is crucial. Number two, I must say what hit me around 2016 when I had to resign from the K-9 unit was the fact that you are not your job. I loved the profession. I loved working as a police officer, particularly when I was on K-9, even though it was stressful at times. You cannot let your job consume you, whether you work in law enforcement, other first responder work, or wherever. You cannot let your career consume you and you think that you are your career. Trust me, your job, your profession, your company, they will move on without you. You are replaceable at work. And it's not who you are, because if who you are is in fact your job, then does that mean when you can no longer do that job one day, then you are just useless? Absolutely not. Know who you are underneath. Like in particular with me, I knew I could continue to serve in other ways. And that's why I've enjoyed speaking across the country to first responders, probation officers, and many more when it comes to purpose and balance and mindset. Number three, we got to talk about what you can and cannot control. This is huge because it's so easy in law enforcement and other first responder work in particular to focus on what you can't control. It's so easy to focus on, gosh, the dang admin. But guess what? Whether they're leading or they're running the place like toxic managers, you can't control them. But the thing is, you can't let them put you in a state of victimhood to where you are living your life in constant blaming others as to how you feel. I'm not saying it's easy and I'm not trying to excuse their actions, but it is crucial to work on your mindset so that what you can't control doesn't hold power over you. You can put meaning to it. You can say, hey, I've learned a lesson from this on how not to be, like when it comes to bad admin, and therefore you can apply it in your interactions with people going forward in your career or your personal life. Let these things build you up, but please take your focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Number four, I must say, I learned to be safe, but not paranoid, to be aware and not hypervigilant all the time. There is evil in this world. I have seen it up close because of what I experienced in law enforcement. I could not believe some of the things people are willing to do to other people. You can't walk around with your head in the clouds. Be aware, train yourself, but don't let fear or paranoia get the best of you. Like, I'm a father of 3 kids. Sometimes when I don't know where my kids are in the neighborhood, my mind immediately will sometimes go to, oh my, they are a victim of a crime like a kidnapping. Where did they go? It doesn't have to be that way. Or they could just be at a friend's house and you don't know they're at a friend's house. But hey, speaking about kids, number 5, communication is absolutely essential. And what it includes might surprise you. You see, like I said, I'm a father, but I'm also a husband. I've got friends. I get to speak in front of audiences now. It's obviously crucial to implement what I learned from law enforcement when it comes to communication. No, I'm not talking like I speak to my kids and say, get your hands up and or you're under arrest. No, no, no. What I'm talking about is the hidden aspect of communication that a lot of people just don't know about, and that is listening. Communication doesn't mean you have to say things effectively. That's important, but you don't always have to do that. Many times if you just listen, that goes a long way, particularly for people in crisis. Remember that people want to be heard, and they'll remember how you made them feel. And if you listen, chances are you're going to make them feel a heck of a lot better, and you didn't even have to say anything, and that's okay. Number 6, the weight of the badge is real. I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't care how excited you are to maybe get into it one day, or I don't care how excited you are that you are finally into it. Guess what? It can wear you down and you will feel the effects of the job. It doesn't mean you're bound to be diagnosed with a mental health condition. Every cop, feels the effects of the job somehow. Because look, police officers encounter critical incidents. You are in a position where you take people's freedom away by placing them under arrest, and that is not to be taken lightly. You have to understand their rights and the elements of criminal law. And then you're responsible for keeping people safe. And then you work long hours. And then you see things that the mind would never want you to see. And the list goes on. These aspects will take a toll on you, and it can change you. And if you don't have healthy ways of coping and train your mindset to have a healthy and strong perspective, it can absolutely crush you. We obviously don't want that to happen. And speaking about mindset, number 7 is what I wish would have been told to me, but I had to learn it the hard way. And that is, your brain is built to help you survive, not to prevail. Bottom line, you can't escape the hardwiring of your brain. So when it comes to staying happy, being focused, feeling peace, you've got to train what's between the ears and put in the steps necessary to do that. Because if you don't, your mind is going to focus on negative things, thus stirring up negative emotions, and you run the risk of starting to live life in a negative lens, negative state, thinking that everybody is a jerk. And what's the point of doing this? And it can get pretty bad for some, but it doesn't have to be that way. Show up for you, and you'll show up that much better for others. Number 8, let's go beyond the individual and talk about teamwork. Man, I learned more and more about teamwork when I worked as a police officer, because when I was on patrol, I worked on a 6-officer team, a 24-officer patrol rotation, including 4 supervisors. At least that's when fully staffed, what it was supposed to look like. But you're working with these people for so many hours, and you're responding to critical incidents. It's really helpful to have that whole team dynamic in play. But also, we people need people, and we need the right people, and we need to be the right person for other people. So the lessons I learned was get beyond what you want to accomplish. I'm not saying don't try to accomplish things, but say, what can I do to help the team in addition to career ambitions that you may have as a person? And that team mentality you can also take beyond the career, which is beneficial. Number 9, drown out the negativity. There's always going to be gossip, and I'm guilty of it as charged, but there are some, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, there are some cops who I swear they didn't know how to have a conversation without talking about other cops. No, I'm serious though. That's not good. But I've seen pockets of gossip and negativity from people just totally wreck a team or even wreck a person. Heck, because of negative gossip, I, after my first year working in law enforcement, quit at my agency and went to another agency because I was negatively influenced to believe that the department where I was at, which was my hometown, was a horrible department. It was not a horrible department. I was just listening to the negative talk and made a bad negative decision. Drown out the negativity. Do not fuel that fire. Protect your mind from it and protect others from it too. Like, shift the conversation as best you can. Number 10, I want to mention that the job changes you. And I know I already mentioned that earlier, but let's dive a little bit more into it. Some ways it will change you for the bad. Some it can change you for the good. Obviously, we want more good. But like I said, when it comes to the bad, like I talked about how whenever I don't know where my kids are for a split second, my mind immediately goes to, well, they must have been the victims of a crime, say a kidnapping. That's because of my experience in law enforcement, where I was exposed to seeing those who decided to commit criminal activity. The job, in a way, had me more guarded, distant, and if I wasn't careful, downright cynical, which is not good at all. So I had to catch myself on those things, because it'll change you, but it doesn't have to define you. But at the same time, it can change you in the sense of seeing things where you're grateful for what you have. Bottom line, there were some houses I would go into, and I was just very grateful for what I could go home to. And on a personal note, it really broke my heart to see some of the living conditions that children had to live in. Talking personally here, those who work their way out of it and do so well after it and get families of their own that don't have to live the way they grew up. All right, number 11, post-traumatic stress disorder, addiction, depression. They don't care what rank you are. And I still have to manage symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder to this day. The thing is, I kept smiling, like during the addiction, I kept smiling towards people. They didn't know anything was wrong, but I was falling apart inside. I had to take it seriously, and I had to get help, and I'm glad I did. I invested my own money and my own time, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I do not share that for pity. I share it for others who might be going through it, and they need the courage to step up and get the treatment. Here's my point. If you're battling something, particularly like an addiction or other mental health condition, you got to step up and get help. It is worth it. But let's go from that to something more lighter, and that is laughter, which can actually help your mental health. In my opinion, you cannot survive law enforcement without a sense of humor. And the thing is, a sense of humor can actually help you obviously well beyond the profession. And I'm not talking about laughing at people. I'm talking about being able to generate laughter within a conversation with another person, or within your team, within your family, or laugh at times that you mess up in the sense of you tripped on the crack in the sidewalk, something like that. In my opinion, you need more laughter, particularly when we get busy and stressed in life, but in law enforcement in particular, I remember that laughter was important. If you forget to laugh, that can eat you alive too. Life is too short not to laugh. So those are just some things that the job taught me. Some of them I had to learn the hard way, but others I wish I'd learned a heck of a lot sooner. Just remember this, the job is not who you are, it is what you do, and that you need to keep your mind sharp. So engage in training your mind and remain consistent in healthy ways to cope, because you take that and that becomes second nature to you, you can take it well beyond the job. I'm living proof of that. Not saying I don't have bad days. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Heck no, that's impossible. All the more reason to work on me so that I can show up better for other people and maintain a sense of purpose and live life, not just exist. So if any of this hit home for you, drop a comment below. And if you are feeling the weight of the job or life, then you can get my new book, 101 Stress Busting Tips for First Responders. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Click right here for your next video. See you there.